Hi everyone, welcome to today's GRE Vocabulary video. This is another edition of our 3 words in 5 minutes series, and in this particular edition we are going to be looking at words that describe people's moods and emotions. We are calling it temperament, temperature, because we are taking the temperature or seeing how the temperament is. Temperament is a word that we use to describe someone's nature. Let's jump right in and see what our 3 words are. Our first word is melancholy, which can be both used as an adjective and as a noun. Melancholy is an extreme state of depression or sadness. Quite often than not, melancholy is a state of depression or sadness that you get into for no apparent reason. Of course, there can be instances where there is a reason behind the sadness. This particular example, she was in a state of melancholy after her grandfather was diagnosed with cancer. There is a logic and a reason behind her sadness. She was sad because her grandfather was not well. We know how people feel when they are depressed, they cannot get out of bed. There is no reason particularly that triggered that particular depression episode. So you can say that they are in a state of melancholy when someone is depressed, dejected or desolate. So those are all synonyms for the word melancholy. I want to give you a quick little story before we move on to the next word, and this is my personal experience. I remember coming across the word melancholy because I saw it for the very first time in the poem called The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. When I was in school, this poem really left an impression on me. I could relate to the words, the narration, and I could visualize what William Wordsworth was describing about coming across a Highland lass who was working by herself in the field. And I remember that he said something about binding and reaping the grain and while singing a melancholy strain. So the grain and the strain rhymed there. I came across the word melancholy for the very first time in William Wordsworth's poem, and I remember it still now. I remember the poem in association with the word melancholy. In fact, later in the poem, the author also uses the word plaintive to describe the reaper's song. So she is singing a sad song to herself while working, and in one place he calls it a plaintive song, another place he calls it a melancholic song, and the word association there really helped me remember the meaning of these words. The point behind this little walk down my memory lane is when we read more, we often associate our words with the context that we are reading it in, and it helps us remember the words that we are learning. So a good way to improve your vocabulary is to read a lot of articles. Doesn't have to be poems, but if you do have the time and the interest, check out The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. It's one of his classic poems. The second word that we are going to be discussing is capricious. Now, if you are melancholic in one moment and then breaking out into a song and dance sequence in the very next moment, then I can call you capricious. Basically, someone who is not consistent and is given to sudden and unaccountable changes in moods and behavior. So, someone who is inconsistent in their behavior, someone who is fickle, those would be good synonyms for the word capricious. Here's capricious in an example sentence. Her best friends found that the school trip was not as fun as they thought it would be because of her capricious nature. So one moment she was having fun, another moment she was sad and depressed, or maybe she was angry. So her moods kept changing and the people around her suffered because of it. That's the meaning behind the sentence. Now, another association for you to help you remember the word, if you are into zodiac signs and all of that, then a good way to remember or describe rather the duality of the Gemini sun sign, because they have multiple personalities. That's the most famous trait of the Gemini sun sign, is that Gemini people tend to be capricious, right? So that's a good word to describe and associate with the sun sign, and therefore remember it as well. Our final word for the day is recalcitrant. Recalcitrant is someone who is very resistant to authority, someone who is rebellious, mutinous in nature. You could describe them as recalcitrant. So someone who is obstinately uncooperative towards authority. An example sentence: the group of friends often got in trouble with their teachers because of their recalcitrant nature. So they refused to follow the rules set by the teacher, they were rebellious, and therefore they often got into trouble. I encourage you to look up the word obdurate as well, which is a synonymous word to recalcitrant. So those are our 3 words and related discussions for the day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more. I'll see you in the next one. Let's throw in a few more GRE words and learn these by associating them with actions. If you have developed a proclivity towards our GRE videos, then show that by hitting the like button. And if you want to subscribe, then please go ahead and do that. It would let us know that you endorse or that you have an endorsement for our channel. Finally, you can usher in future videos. That's bring future videos by hitting that bell icon, or basically a graphical representation of a chime. So that's 4 more words for you. Hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Good luck!